friends, welcome to The Leak. I'm Rose Bishop and I'm your new host. I'm taking over from the incomparable Pat McCaffrey, who was sadly unable to return to The Leak this year after falling victim, like so many politicians this election cycle, to a leaked screenshot scandal. Someone recently leaked screenshots of some upsettingly sexual Gough Whitlam fan fiction that Pat wrote some years ago, and he was forced to quit in disgrace. R.I.P. So, of course, the federal election is upon us, dear God, and as the campaign heats up and the furious sniping and bitching of the two major parties reaches a familiar crescendo, some surprise candidates have emerged to thankfully distract us. Perhaps the most surprising was when former Triple J presenter and self-described sesh gremlin Alex Rat Dog Dyson threw his hat into the ring as a last-minute candidate for the federal seat of Wannon in regional Victoria. Dyson released a campaign video last week where he broadly outlines the policies on which he'll be running via the medium of interpretive dance to a stirring score. This video has really shaken up my selections for next year's Hottest 100, though I'm still at this point unclear as to whether or not political statements and videos can be considered for inclusion in the Hottest 100, as I've personally been locked in an as yet unresolved 7-year battle with Triple J over whether or not Julia Gillard's famous speech in Parliament, taking Tony Abbott to task over misogyny, was officially 2012's biggest banger, as if there was any question. Running as an independent, Dyson has been fairly quiet so far about the specifics of his policies, but I can only assume he'll announce shortly that he's running on a platform of moving Parliament to Meredith and providing free pingers to anyone with a low-income healthcare card. I mean, sure, the Greens have promised free and legal pill testing at events, but is that really enough? No, it's not, says anyone on a low income who's tried to enjoy the presets whilst not on pingers. In further weird campaigning news, LNP member Angus Taylor was recently caught commenting, "Fantastic, great move, well done Angus," on his own campaign video. This could mean one of two things. Either he forgot to log in under a dummy account to post the comment, or he thought he was commenting on a video of someone cooking a steak. Get it? Well done, Angus. Yeah, we went there. Hard-hitting news. Angus Taylor himself was unavailable to comment on the matter as he was too busy high-fiving himself after sex. And now, in thrush news, an American gynecologist has warned that an old wives' tale about inserting garlic cloves into your vagina in order to cure thrush, which has recently resurfaced online as a natural health trend, doesn't actually work and could in fact cause infection, burning and a whole new level of garlic breath. Well, isn't my face red? And my labia from the burning. This trend also explains why vampires won't go down on me. I'm joking, obviously. I've never tried to put garlic up my business to cure thrush because I'm not an old witch living in the forest in the year 603 or a Fitzroy yoga instructor and anti-vaxxer who's apparently never heard of Caniston cream. Some natural health proponents also recommend the use of natural yogurt in the vagina in addition to garlic to combat thrush, which also probably doesn't work, but at least if you pop a cucumber in your handbag, you've always got a nice portable tzatziki on hand for any spontaneous picnic situations. On to whale news now, and Navy officials recently caught a white beluga whale believed to be armed with Russian spy equipment, meaning it's now become more likely that an actual whale will be cast as the next James Bond than a woman or a person of colour. And finally, an LJ Hooker promotional video showcasing one of their properties for sale went viral recently for all the wrong reasons. The ad shows two models basically rooting their way through the frankly fairly ugly house in Sydney's suburb of Padstow, demonstrating the features of each room by rolling around sexily on top of them and doing stilted Latin-style dances with way too much rubbing of pelvises involved. Since being roundly mocked by the public for their weirdly horny ad, LJ Hooker has taken it offline. However, the video can still be found on Pornhub under the incredibly specific category of videos for people with a fetish for being cucked by their own house. So that's it for the headlines. But speaking of sexy real estate, joining us now to discuss how to rejuvenate dying industries is Vidya Rajan. Welcome, Vidya. Hello.
Hi. Thank you, Rose, for that strange and mildly objectifying compliment. Speaking of dying industries, though, it's great to be here on your community broadcast television show.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're welcome. Vidya, we've seen how that LJ Hooker ad went viral for trying to use softcore porn to flog an ugly, overpriced house, but why sex up real estate in the first place?
Well, as you know, Rose, millennials are always being accused of destroying industries. And that's true of the property market as well. They just won't buy houses.
I mean, isn't that just because they've been priced out of the market by rich, negative gearing baby boomers who bought cheap property 3 decades ago and now refuse to die?
Sure, Rose, that's one logical sounding theory, but isn't it more tenuous, and by tenuous I mean appealing, and by appealing I mean correct theory, that it's because millennials aren't investing in properties because investing isn't sexy enough, Rose?
And you believe that a raunchy angle on advertising could work for other industries as well?
It already is. Let me ask you a question. Why don't people like coal anymore?
I mean, I assume because burning it releases highly toxic pollutants and heavy metals into the atmosphere, and it's the largest source of carbon dioxide emissions for any single human activity.
Sure, which is just, I think, another way of saying that coal could be sexier. I mean, coal is one of Australia's classic energy sources, and what better way to bring back a classic than with another classic, presenting the new face of coal pollution pin-up, Betty Blacklung. I mean, just look at her little sooty, smudged face, Rose. Who wouldn't want to come all over it? By which I mean invest in coal now.
I'm not sure that outfit's actually OH&S compliant.
Sure, we can workshop it. This is just one rendition. We also have one where she's giving an erotically charged middle finger to Adani protesters, and another where she's pouting and telling children to shut up and go back to school.
I've got to be honest, those are all really bad ideas.
Yeah, like bad, like in a hot way, like really cool, like sexy bad.
What are you...
Look, anyway, people are pretty unhappy with banks at the moment.
Oh yeah, because of the widespread corruption, predatory lending, the Royal Commission that failed to prosecute anyone for their obvious crimes. But I have a feeling you're going to say they need to be sexier.
It's like we're connected and you can read my mind. Anyway, we've looked at what banks already have going for them, namely total dominion over customers, the government, the economy, plants and wildlife. And unlike most industries, banks have less of a company-customer relationship and more of a master-slave one.
Yep, should have predicted this.
Yep, so let's drop the pretense. Out with the collared shirts, in with the black leather. Less the shackles of crippling debt, more some cute actual shackles, a range of which would come in many colours, much like bank cards. But they tie you to a bank teller rather than to another person. A teller who's tying you to exorbitant mortgage repayments. Release your carnal desires, service your Big Four bank, and never stop worshipping the mountains.
Of crippling debt.
Technically, yes. And our approach can work on any industry you care to name. Really, name one that could be made sexier.
I'm going to say the coalition.
I've got it. A range of sex toys moulded and sculpted on the genitals of prominent coalition politicians.
I mean, why would anyone ever want that?
Well, I just figured they fucked us for so long, now finally the people have a chance to do the same to them.
Horrible. Vidya Rajan, everybody. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to The Leak. This now is a segment that I'm going to call Not the Project, very original, where I have a very casual chat about world events with two of my most available friends. It's correspondents Vidya and Scott. Yay!
Now what?
Oh, this is the news bit. We talk about bits of news.
Cool.
All right, so micro parties.
Sounds like my 21st.
Oh, Scott, I know. I wasn't there. Anyway, micro parties. I was thinking about this. It seems like there's more of them around, and it seems like they're much more cooked than they used to be. By the way, this actually that we've brought in is an actual ballot paper for this year's election. Nice hefty boy.
I actually love it when the ballot paper goes over the side of the booth and into the one next to you, so that you have an excuse to form a brief human connection with the person there.
Oh, Bubby. So this is mostly all the parties that nobody's ever heard of. So this is the Leak Presents Micro Parties, a guide to who you should probably skip over at the ballot box.
It looks like there's like a lot of climate action micro-parties, which I guess is for people who maybe like the Greens, but also like not winning even more.
Yeah. Where did all of these micro-parties come from? Like, and why are there so many?
Okay, so there used to be a guy called the Preference Whisperer who helped micro-parties preference each other, which is how Ricky Muir from the Motoring Enthusiast Party got elected in 2013. Of course, against all odds, he turned out to be kind of a reasonable person, so he was voted out in 2016.
So is the Preference Whisperer still at large, or?
Well, they changed the system, so I guess those parties just haven't been told that it doesn't work anymore. And the Preference Whisperer is lost to the wind.
Well, I for one can't wait to vote for climate action, immigration action, accountable politicians. I'm not yelling that's the name of a party on the with exclamation marks and everything.
So many.
So that party says that they have no actual policies.
Right, well, at least that's refreshingly honest.
I know they want to allow people to vote directly on individual issues to create the party's policies.
But what if people vote against climate action?
I feel like that name hasn't been thought through.
It's a very good point. Somehow they decided it was better than their previous name, Senator Online. Probably because that sounds like a middle-aged man texting memes to his kids.
So Vote Flux I've been looking into, terrible name. It's a party that was formed by two guys with, surprise, surprise, experience in the Bitcoin industry. So they also promised direct democracy, i.e. crowdsourcing their policy directly from voters, no matter how utterly cooked that policy turns out to be. And many people have rightly pointed out that with direct democracy, parties could easily be hijacked by a single interest group with a strong online organisation. For example, literal Nazis who've been congregating on 4chan and 8chan these days. Fantastic. And that could be used to enact some pretty awful policy. But I mean, I'm sure that would never happen.
Exactly. It's a good thing digital technology has never had a negative impact on democratic discourse.
The whole thing sort of feels like letting the comments section from a news.com.au article form a political party.
Which feels like a real waste when they already have the Liberals.
So who else have we got here? There is, Rise Up, one of my favourites, one of my favourite micro-parties. That's the party that you might have heard of. It's got a conservative Christian leader who famously claimed that the Black Saturday bushfires were sent by God in retaliation to the decriminalisation of abortion in Victoria. And that the Queensland floods were caused by Kevin Rudd being critical of Israel in a speech, which is very Old Testament stuff.
There's also the Great Australia Party, which is the new party of Senator Rod Culleton. Is that how you say his name? I don't care. Who in 2016 was disqualified from One Nation for being an undischarged bankrupt. And more recently, the AEC has referred Culleton's Senate nomination to the AFP to, quote, examine if a false declaration has been made under provisions of the Criminal Code Act, since his bankruptcy status hasn't been changed. To put it simply, Culleton is bankrupt, and according to Section 44 of the Australian Constitution, he should be incapable of sitting as a senator. So that's more Section 44 stuff in the news. At least politicians are sticking to things the Australian public already know about the Constitution, so we don't have to learn new things about it.
Yeah, well, and of course there's the United Australia Party, Clive Palmer's multi-million-dollar pet project that you mentioned earlier. Clive Palmer, who don't forget, owes millions of dollars to his employees, but is instead invested in a video game filled with alt-right symbols where he collects cookies.
Amazing.
And he has spent 6 times that debt on promoting himself with the Trumpian slogan, Make Australia Great. He claims $7 million has been put aside for said workers in a trust, but rather than just giving it to them, he's opted for the Centrelink method of clearing debt, saying they've got to come forward and verify that they were working for the company and that they qualify for that payment. And I just simply love living in a meritocracy.
Now, this isn't a micro-party, though I wish it was. Should we talk about One Nation?
Must we?
It's time.
Well, Pauline Hanson has had appearances on Insiders, Q&A, Late Line, 7 News, Today Tonight, Studio 10, The 7:30 Report, Meet the Press, Enough Rope, Four Corners, 60 Minutes, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Burgo's Family Feud, The Jim Jeffries Show, and even Bert Newton's New Faces.
That's real.
That is very real, and she's very silenced, because she's only appeared on Sunrise 1,767 times just this week.
I guess the scary thing about support for these parties is that it seems there's almost nothing these candidates could do that would deter voters. Islamophobic statements don't stand a chance. Even the whole NRA expose was a blip on the radar. And even if something does put a dent in the polls, they always have the chance to rebuild their political career with a turn on Dancing with the Stars.
So there's no way to get rid of them?
Probably not, but it seems like maybe, and I don't want to get too hopeful, but maybe being a secret, but really not that secret because we all kind of knew, pervert, would actually take a couple of senators down.
There's a centaur in the centre of all this, isn't there?
Sorry, a what?
A centaur?
Huh.
Yes, Rose. Now, any garden variety jizz pest can post a lewd picture of a woman, but one of the recently resigned One Nation senators did much more than that.
Good God.
Yeah, you can see it now?
Yeah.
There you go.
No wonder they keep wanting to slash the arts budget. I mean, what is that?
That is Ross MacDonald. No, sorry, Ross MacDonald is the senator who commented on it. The picture is of a centaur.
Huh.
Well, not actually a centaur, not quite a horse. It's just, I think it's a very sick woman. Ross MacDonald was running for the lower house in Leichhardt. That was until the Cairns Post did a deep dive into his Facebook history and uncovered a few things, like the centaur.
Don't tell me he has more of this sort of thing. What else is there? A sexy minotaur, lecherous Loch Ness, some of that Bigfoot erotica that, to be clear, I definitely don't know anything about, but I'm also aware of and willing to discuss further if you're keen.
Yes, I know, Scott. I was at your 21st and heard that speech.
Yep.
So, Ross has also posted a photo of himself with a topless woman and the delightful caption, yummy.
Ooh, yeah, no, we will not be throwing up a graphic of that image.
Oh, but Rose, how will we know if it's yummy or not?
We will not.
Look, it's not all sex with Ross though. There's also a sprinkling of racism. Amongst other things, he posted what I think was meant to be a joke about using Indigenous people as bait for crocodile fishing, but that hasn't gotten as much outrage.
But he's gone now, which seemed to upset Hansel a lot. She had a public breakdown about the quality of candidates she had chosen, which leaves the open question of whether such a poor judge of people should be running a major political party that centres around making snap assessments of large groups of people. But I guess we'll simply never know.
We simply won't.
Watching Pauline Hanson cry over her own candidates that she selected just reminded me very viscerally of me throwing a tantrum the other week when I yet again got diarrhoea from eating 7-Eleven egg sandwiches. Even though no one is forcing me to keep on buying them, I could just pick a better sandwich, Pauline.
The egg sandwiches aren't racist though.
And they don't want to fuck a lady centaur woman thing.
I mean, I never asked, so.
Rude.
Well, while we sort out this mess further, you guys are all going to watch some ads. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back. Hello. It's been 3 weeks since Paris was devastated by the near destruction of one of its most iconic landmarks, the Notre Dame Cathedral. But here tonight to tell us more about the aftermath of this tragic event is our political correspondent and also my personal travel agent, Katherine Allan.
Hello, Rose. Or should I say bonjour, Rose? That's French for hello, Rose.
Yeah, I do know what bonjour means. But Katherine, nearly $2 billion was raised just 48 hours after the fire at Notre Dame, and by comparison, just $52 million has been raised to aid those affected by the devastating fire at Grenfell Tower in London in 2017, which killed 72 people. It's a pretty staggering difference. I mean, what would you say the impact overall of the Notre Dame fire has been?
You're absolutely right, Rose. I mean, not since Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande broke up has there been such an overwhelming support of grief from white girls on the internet. Their Throwback Thursday Kentucky photos have been ruined forever.
I mean, I'm not sure if white girls on a Kentucky tour are the real victims here.
Of course they are. Anyway, tell me, Rose, have you ever been to Europe?
Well, yeah, I lived in Berlin for a year, France for 6 months.
Rose, you have to go. It is amazing. Coincidentally, I just came back from a 14-day Kentucky tour and I'm feeling so cultured, enlightened and fingered. I got fingered in 14 countries in 14 days.
Sorry, did you just say that you got fingered on live television?
Live community television. And no, of course I didn't. I said cultured and enlightened.
No, you definitely said fingered.
I absolutely did not.
I mean, to have it on tape.
Okay, Rose, you need to give me a break. I am a white girl from the internet and I am in mourning. We should honestly be in a state of emergency right now. Like, I just don't think you fully understand how spiritual and magical this cathedral was. It was like as beautiful as the coral reefs at the Maldives, and now they're both just gone. Like, we can get the coral back, but Notre Dame is never coming back. And Kentucky tours will never be the same.
I mean, I don't know why you're even bringing this back to Kentucky tours. Like, we are supposed to be talking about what the aftermath of the Notre Dame fire says about what people choose to care. Sorry, are you lighting a candle?
I choose to care about preserving Kentucky tours. They're a great way to let your friends and family know on Instagram that you've seen the world.
I mean, I think Kentucky tours will probably be fine. I mean, look, I can't stress enough how extremely off topic this is, but I did actually go on a Kentucky tour in 2004.
No, you didn't.
No, I definitely did. I was there.
But you didn't post about it on Instagram.
Well, no, but we didn't have Instagram in 2004. We had disposable cameras. You'd have to take about 20 photos and get them printed out a week later.
That is so sad.
Look, that aside, we need to get back on topic. Katherine, why do you think people care so much about Notre Dame burning down and not about helping to preserve other important landmarks, like the removal of sacred Indigenous birthing trees on the Western Highway?
Because they don't have Kentucky tours there, obviously. As you pointed out, I am both a political correspondent, although I was not asked to be on your panel. It's fine, I've dealt with it. I am also a travel agent, okay? And I'm an intellectual, and I've put my thinking beret on, which I picked up at a cute Christmas market in Paris on my recent Kentucky tour, and I have come up with a solution.
Oh God, just get ready to cut her mic.
Can I get a drum roll, please?
No, you absolutely cannot. Oh, there you go. Yep, no, please stop that, it's very loud.
Kentucky tours!
Ah, Kentucky tours are your solution, yes.
You thought that I was here just to try and sell Kentucky tours to your audience to try and earn my 7% commission as a travel agent, when actually I'm here to encourage millennials to care about important issues while also earning my 7% commission as a travel agent.
Okay, yep. But I mean, how are Kentucky tours going to help anything?
Okay, think about it, Rose. Notre Dame just got a lot of funding from some hot French billionaires, okay? If we start running Kentucky tours through spots that we want to save, we can use the power of white girl nostalgia to enact social change. White girls are a force to be reckoned with. We just run Kentucky tours through places that young people don't care about so that they can snap a quick selfie, put a Clarendon filter on, put it on an Instagram. We did it. Social change.
Oh God, you are the worst political correspondent.
We can bring back the Notre Dame. We can bring back the Great Barrier Reef. We can bring back the Tasmanian tigers.
We cannot bring back the Tasmanian tigers.
Not with that attitude. There is nothing we can't do. Who's with me?
I don't think that young people posting selfies at sacred sites is a solution. It just encourages insensitive attitudes. I mean, just recently Auschwitz had to tweet from their official Twitter account, that's a thing, urging young people not to take selfies when touring the sites and to actually take in their surroundings instead.
Well, I mean, I would never take a selfie at a concentration camp.
Good, I'm glad we agree on something.
It's just really terrible lighting. I mean,
God.
you can't see anything.
Everyone, please thank my political correspondent and now former personal travel agent, Katherine Allan.
Can we just, thank you. Can we just grab a selfie just for Instagram? Just on my phone here.
Okay,
Just
yep.
get a selfie.
Sorry, I'll just I've got my own camera. I'll just
Is that a disposable camera?
I mean, it's
That is disgusting. Get that away from me. That is gross.
Katherine
You're
Allan,
gross.
everybody. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us and tune in next week for another episode of The Leak. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause and good night.